Everything's going well down here. The engine's in nice and snug. Radiators on, oil cooler, the intercooler's in. There's some plastic wear goes around the bottom there, this kind of aerofoil thing. It's a bit cracked around here. It's got an intercooler spray which goes there, so I will fit that. I'll give that some repair. Now you might notice under there's a pot with antifreeze in, so I've got a bit of a leak at the back of the intercooler. So I've jacked it up and nipped up the Jubilee clips. There was a little bit of trouble here with the throttle linkage being really quite tight against the injector leads there. So I've taken it off, rerouted the throttle cable in a happier way, and just push that cable down, so there's clearance on it now, so that would be all right. The air filter's in, everything's neat and tidy. I've tried to route the pipes in a tidy way. I've fixed that. That's done. Now, last time we were in Tesco's, they had ionised water, so I think it was only £1, so I bought two bottles of that, so that's been good. So you should always use ionised water because, as you know, the electrolytic interference between alloy and metal, I don't understand it, but if you use deionised water, it'll stop the furring up in the alloy head with the electrolytic action. Always use green antifreeze, always use green, I couldn't remember what it was called, always use green antifreeze, 50-50, a little bit stronger, 60-50 antifreeze and deionized water. So we've done that, you stay there, we've filled that, we've run. It's very low, the level when it's operating. If you fill it up, it'll only chuck it out. So it's quite a low. It's only an overflow tank, so it's quite a low level. I run it up so it got hot, got up to 90, and the fan came on. So that's a good thing. I did some inner wing repairs on this car. So to do that, I had to drop the suspension. So to drop the suspension, I had to remove the brakes. So I put that all back together again, and I had to bleed the brakes. So I used the old pot and the jam jar and hose method, which worked fine. It's a one-man operation. Keep the hose in under the level of the fluid, and you're fine. And I was happy to see that at the Motor Factors they had some Brembo brake fluid, which I thought would be nice to use. The strut brace is back on securely. Of course, I put it on before I put the seal on, so I had to take it off again. I forgot about the seal. Anyway, that's good practice. As always, I've marked the end so I know which way it goes back. I have checked, because you can see these in different directions, but I have checked, and that's the way it goes. So I've marked the end, so I'll put it back the right way. So on this side of the car, I removed the wing to access underneath the suspension better. I've put the inner wing back, ready to accept the metalwork. But before I put that back, I'm going to treat this rust here. I'm going to sand that down, give it a coat of anti-rust primer, and then give it a coat of red. So I bought a fresh tin of Rosso Monza, and that is single pack cellulose, so you can brush that and then wash your brush out in cellulose thinners. So coat of anti-rust primer, coat of that red, run some sealer down, and then put the wing back. On the other side, I've already done that previously. There was some repair work up in this corner here, so I've had this wing off and refinished it underneath, so we'll just do that side. I'm just going to start it up now. Now, it runs a treat, but you can hear a knocking, and I was pretty disappointed about that. But it's the cover catching on the cam wheel. Now, right down the bottom there, it's supposed to go over a little fitting, but I've put it behind it, so it's too tight on the cam wheels. YouTube mechanics know that videoing and doing the work at the same time, it can be a bit tricky. You can make mistakes, and I'd made a mistake on this. You heard the rattling on this end of the engine. Well, that was the cam belt catching on the cam wheel. So there's a lug on the end of here, this bracket, which this cover is supposed to be outside of, and I'd got the cover on the inside, so it was rubbing on the wheel. Now that is actually quite serious, because it rubs on the balancer shaft belt as well. So it was quite a serious mistake. So to rectify that, I've had to get the cover off and put it on the outside, which is in the correct position. So it's battery out again, this off, so you can't get that off until you get this off, and you can't get this off until you get that off, because there's a 10mm bolt in there which is behind that bracket. So it's really quite complicated, and you've got a sort of, and there's a bolt underneath there, which a 10mm bolt underneath this bracket, which holds a metal frame on, the metal protector frame at the bottom. So it's quite a sort of a coordinated thing to fit. So anyway, it's back now, so I'm going to tighten these up. But that's not a mistake I'll make again. So I've nipped up the turbo water feed, the Jubilee clip, and it seems to have stopped the dripping. So I've got that framework in primer, so we'll get it put back together. I'll get that mounting all tightened up, get that cover tightened up properly. Now there's lots of information at integralingham.com. There's workshop pages there which you can have a look at, and you can subscribe if you like to this. So what we'll do, we'll put this car together, and then we'll take it for a ride. So in a couple of days we'll get it all finished, get the bodywork put back on, we'll give it a spin, see how it goes. Thank you for watching, see you again soon, bye bye. That's lovely. Let me put the mic down there and you can listen to it. Smash him.